Ever lock horns with an HOA queen who thinks your lake's her personal empire? Meet Rebecca Wilkins, Maple Creek Estate's iron-fisted president, strutting like she owns my water. I'm Jake Sullivan, 40, ex-tech bro turned lake recluse, holed up in my family's cabin by Sullivan Lake, a 50-acre gem ringed by hayfields and Grandpa's sagging barn. Picture me, coffee in hand, boots on the dock, my 16-foot aluminum fishing boat bobbing, a weathered relic from Grandpa's days, teaching me to cast. That boat's not just metal. It's roots, deep as the cornstalks in our fields. Then Rebecca's neon orange violation notice hit me like a bad joke. I've faced Silicon Valley sharks, but this was next-level nerve. The notice, taped to my boat like a tacky sticker, screamed, "Unauthorized watercraft," and demanded I remove it from community waters in 48 hours or pay $500 daily. A letter in my mailbox, signed by Rebecca herself, threatened to tow it at my expense. Community waters. My lake's been Sullivan turf since Grandpa bought it in '53, when this was just cow paths and wheat. I laughed, then fumed. Maple Creek Estates, a glitzy sprawl of McMansions, sprouted a decade ago on the North Ridge, their manicured lawns sneering at our rusty tractor. Rebecca, 50s, platinum hair pinned tight, rules the HOA like a duchess, fining rose bushes, dictating fence heights. Now she's after my boat, calling it aesthetic blight. I grew up baling hay here, watching Grandpa scare off trespassers with a squint. This lake, with its cattail shores and clear depths, isn't her playground. It's ours. I called Ray Delgado, my neighbor, 70s, a retired carpenter with hands like oak and a farmstead down the shore. He knew Grandpa, shared his loathing for suits. HOA's been fishing your lake for years, Jake? Ray chuckled, voice dry. Elite Anglers Club, yuppies in $500 vests. Your grandpa'd have chased 'em with a pitchfork. News to me. I'd been gone, building my cybersecurity startup, selling it for millions, then retreating here 6 months ago to fix the cabin. I hadn't clocked their tournaments, but Ray's words sparked a fire. My laptop confirmed it. Maple Creek's HOA website flaunted lakeside derbies, photos showing tents and a temporary dock on my east shore, my hayfield. They'd been partying on Sullivan land for 5 years, no permission, calling my lake their crown jewel. Shay. A tournament was set for Saturday, $5,000 prize, catered barbecue. On my property. I gripped my coffee, the barn's weathered planks glaring across the field. Grandpa's voice rang. Water's life, Jake, not profit. I rang Emma Porter, my college buddy turned environmental lawyer. They stole your lake? She laughed, voice sharp. You own the deed. Lake bed, water rights, all. That's trespassing. She told me to skip replying, set up cameras, and dig out Grandpa's deeds. I found them in the attic, next to old seed catalogs. 1953, Sullivan Lake, 50 acres, 15 feet past the high water mark. Ours. Cameras went up by dusk, discreet night vision, aimed at the East Shore's hay bales. That night, my phone pinged, camera alert. Rebecca, her green blazer swapped for a sweater, snooping my dock, snapping photos of my boat. Smirking, like she owned the place. I sent the clip to Emma. She's marking her turf, she texted. Crash their meeting tomorrow. I leaned on the dock, lake lapping, the barn's silhouette dark against the stars. Rebecca thought she ruled Maple Creek, but I had her smirk on tape and Grandpa's deeds. This wasn't about a boat. It was war. Rebecca Wilkins' dockside smirk, caught on my camera, was a slap to Sullivan Lake. Her neon notice, demanding I yank my boat or pay $500 daily, sat crumpled in my cabin, the lake glinting past our hayfields and Grandpa's barn. Jake Sullivan doesn't back down, but Rebecca, Maple Creek's HOA queen, Thought she owned my 50 acres of water and wheat. I stood on the porch, my 16-foot boat bobbing defiantly. Emma's plan to crash the HOA meeting tonight, sparking a grin. Rebecca's platinum hair and green blazer wouldn't shield her from Grandpa's 1953 deed, or my lenses. Ray Delgado rolled up at noon, his pickup crunching corn stalks. "Jake, HOA's voting on lake standards tonight," he said, tan hands gripping a thermos. "All boats need HOA stickers, fees to their club. Your dock's non-compliant." I snorted, tossing a hay bale. "They're squatting on my lake, Ray. Now they want my boat's papers?" "Worse," he said, eyes sharp. "They're fining folks. $1,000 for violations. Mrs. Carter got hit for her canoe shed." Mrs. Carter, 60s, ran a vegetable patch across the ridge, her squash a market staple. I'd seen her hauling crates, never hurting a soul. I called Emma, updating her on Ray's tip. "They're faking lake control to extort," she said, voice crisp. "Bring Ray tonight. We'll rattle them." The Maple Creek Community Center was a tacky palace, fake columns and a fountain screaming wealth. Rebecca stood at a podium, platinum hair gleaming, green blazer crisp. "Lake aesthetics are vital," she purred to 30 bored neighbors, waving my notice like a scepter. "Mr. Sullivan's boat threatens our community's prestige." I walked in, Emma and Ray at my sides, holding Grandpa's deed and a USB with Rebecca's dock footage. "Prestige, Rebecca?" I tossed the deed on her desk, its yellowed edges sharp. "Your elite anglers club's been fishing my lake. No permission, no deed. That's trespassing." The room stirred, Miss Carter's eyes wide. Rebecca's smile flickered, her nails tapping the podium. "Mr. Sullivan, the lake's HOA managed. Historical precedent." "Show your deed," I said, voice steel. Emma stepped up, suit sharp. "Maple Creek's plans list Sullivan Lake as private. You've got no claim." Ray nodded. "You find Mrs. Carter's shed, $1,000 for a farmer's patch?" Mrs. Carter stood, voice quaking. "I can't pay. My market stall's all I got." Murmurs grew. Mr. Lee, a retiree with a chicken coop, nodded. Rebecca's gavel slammed. "This is disruptive. Security!" Emma plugged the USB into their projector. Rebecca's dock snoop flashed up, her smirk clear. "Your president, trespassing," I said. Gasps rippled. "Vikuyamas." Miss Carter clutching her scarf. Rebecca pointed, face red. "Slander, Sullivan." I grinned. "Slander's on tape. 500 views already." Emma's phone glowed. Live stream, buzzing, Mr. Stir. Lee yelled, "What about my $500 fence fine?" The room split, half cheering, half glaring. Security shoved us out, Rebecca's hiss trailing. "You'll regret this." Outside, Mrs. Carter grabbed my arm. "They want my land for a resort. Heard it at the market." Ray nodded. "My niece says they're filing for a marina." I gripped the deed, lake calm beyond the barn. Rebecca's crown was wobbling, but my cameras were rolling, and Emma's pen was sharp. The tournament was Saturday. Our trap was set. Rebecca Wilkins. Hiss. "You'll regret this," was a wasp's sting. But Jake Sullivan's faced worse in boardrooms. Her neon notice, demanding I ditch my boat, was a joke next to my 1953 deed, safe in my cabin by the hayfields. Emma's live stream, now at 500 views, had Maple Creek buzzing, with Mrs. Carter's $1,000 shed fine and whispers of a resort on my land fanning the flames. My cameras caught Rebecca's VP, Karen Mitchell, scheming with Gerald Thompson, elite angler's boss, on my shore. I stood by the barn, lake lapping past our old tractor, ready to gut their tournament trap. Emma rolled in at dawn, SUV crunching cornstalks. "Jake, Rebecca's doubling down," she said, laptop glowing. "They're pushing a lake development vote at the tournament. Condos, marina, $50 million. Claiming community rights to your hayfields." I kicked a hay bale, jaw tight. Stealing my lake for a resort? On my land? Worse, she said, eyes sharp. Ray's niece found their county filing. Rebecca's spearheading it with Vanguard Realty. They're fining Mrs. Carter to force her sale. Mrs. Carter's vegetable patch, her grandkid's lifeline, hugged my east shore. Resort bait. Ray called, voice grim. Mrs. Carter got a $2,000 lien notice. Vanguard's bank. She's scared. Pictured her, weeding squash, now facing ruin. We need her at the tournament, I told Emma. Expose Rebecca's scam. Miss Carter met us at her patch, hands shaky, a lean letter crumpled. They'll take my land, Jake, she said, eyes wet. HOA says my shed's blighting their resort. Emma snapped a photo. Extortion. We'll hit them tomorrow. The tournament was a circus on my east shore, tents sprawling across my hayfield. Rebecca strutted in her green blazer, pitching to suits with briefcases, investors. Prime lakefront, she chirped, waving at my cattails. HOA owns it all. Gerald waved a $5,000 prize check, anglers cheering. I walked up, Emma, Ray, and Mrs. Carter behind, holding the lien and my deed. Own Rebecca? I tossed the deed at her feet, ink glaring. You're trespassing on Sullivan land. 5 years. No permission. Now stealing Mrs. Carter's farm? The crowd, 40 anglers, neighbors, froze. Rebecca's face flushed, nails digging into her clipboard. Sullivan, you're disrupting. Emma raised her phone, live stream at 1,000 views. Your lien, $2,000 on Mrs. Carter's patch. That's your resort. Mrs. Carter's voice broke. My grandkids need this land. Mr. Lee yelled. They find my coop, $500. Suits whispered, uneasy. Gerald snapped. This is our lake. I grinned. Deed says 1953. Sullivan owned. Lake, hayfields. Emma flashed the lien. This is fraud, Rebecca. Ray crossed his arms. You've bullied farmers long enough. Rebecca lunged for Emma's phone, but Ray blocked her, solid as oak. No more. Suits slipped away, muttering. Rebecca roared. Security! As Emma's stream hit 2,000. Neighbors filmed outside, Mr. Lee rallying them. Security shoved us off, Rebecca's glare venomous. You're done, Sullivan. Mrs. Carter clutched her lien, whispering. They'll auction my patch. Ray nodded. My niece says they're meeting investors tonight. I gripped the deed, lake calm beyond the barn. Rebecca's resort was cracking, but my cameras caught Karen whispering with Gerald. Their next move was coming, and our trap was tightening. Rebecca Wilkins' venomous glare at the tournament. You're done, Sullivan, was a desperate swing, but Jake Sullivan's dodged bigger punches. Her neon notice, demanding I ditch my boat, was nothing against my 1953 deed, tucked in my cabin by the hayfields. Emma's live stream, now at 2,000 views, had Maple Creek's HOA reeling, with Mrs. Carter's $2,000 lien and Mr. Lee's $500 fence fine fueling the rebellion. My cameras caught Karen Mitchell, Rebecca's VP, scheming with Gerald Thompson on my shore. I stood by the barn, lake lapping past our rusty tractor, ready to sink their investor meeting tonight. Emma hit my porch at noon, laptop blazing. Jake, Karen's pitching the investors. Rebecca's in damage control. They're promising condos on your hayfields, claiming full lake control. I tossed a cornstalk, grinning. On my land, with my deed staring them down? Better, she said, eyes gleaming. Ray's niece leaked their proposal, $50 million. Vanguard Realty's cut 30%. They're pressuring Mrs. Carter to sell her patch. Mrs. Carter's vegetable stand, her grandkids' future, was steps from my cattails. Ray's pickup rattled up. They sent Mrs. Carter a foreclosure notice. Vanguard's bank. She's breaking. I pictured her, hauling squash, now facing ruin. We crashed their meeting, I said. Bring her. Mrs. Carter met us at her stand, hands trembling. A foreclosure notice crumpled. They'll auction my land, Jake. Say it's for resort aesthetics. Emma snapped a photo. This is fraud. We'll nail them tonight. Maple Creek's community center was a glossy stage. Karen in a navy blazer pitching to 10 suits. Rebecca hovering. Her green blazer creased. Sullivan Lake's ours, Karen chirped, flashing resort renderings. Condos eating my hayfields. Ownership disputes are nearly resolved. I strode in, Emma, Ray, and Mrs. Carter behind, holding the foreclosure notice and my deed. Resolved, Karen? I tossed the deed on her table, ink a slap. You're squatting on my lake. No permission. Now stealing Mrs. Carter's farm? Suits froze, briefcases snapping shut. Karen's smile cracked, nails clicking. This is private. Rebecca stepped up, face pale. You're slandering us. Emma raised her tablet, live stream at 3,000 views. This lien, $2,000 on Mrs. Carter's patch for aesthetics. Vanguard's bank. Mrs. Carter's voice broke. My grandkids live off this land, Mr. Lee roared. They hit my coop, $500. For their resort? Suit stood. You don't own the lake? I grinned. Deed says 1953. Sullivan land. Lakebed, hayfields. Emma flashed the notice. This is extortion, Rebecca. Ray crossed his arms. You've bullied farmers for years. Karen lunged for the tablet, but Mrs. Carter blocked her, eyes fierce. No more. Suits bolted, one muttering, Pull our funds. Rebecca's voice cracked. Security! Emma's stream hit 4,000. Neighbors banged on windows, Mr. Lee waving a pitchfork. Security shoved us out, Karen's glare venom. You'll lose everything, Sullivan. Mrs. Carter clutched her notice, whispering, My patch. Ray nodded. My niece says Vanguard's meeting Rebecca tomorrow. Final push. I gripped the deed, lake calm beyond the barn's shadow. My cameras pinged, a Vanguard truck circling my dock, Rebecca's green blazer in the frame. Her resort was sinking, but their last swing was coming, and Grandpa's lake was ready. That Vanguard truck circling my dock, Rebecca Wilkins's green blazer on my cameras, was her final gasp. But Jake Sullivan's faced worse, in tech wars. Her neon notice demanding I ditch my boat was a faded joke, dwarfed by my 1953 deed and Emma's live stream, now at 4,000 views. Maple Creek's HOA was crumbling. Mrs. Carter's $2,000 lien, Mr. Lee's $500 fence fine, and Rebecca's $50 million resort scam exposed. I stood by the lake, hayfield, stretching past our rusty tractor, Grandpa's barn, a guardian. Tonight's emergency HOA meeting, called after the investor meltdown, was our endgame. Rebecca's crown was mulch. Emma burst in at dawn, laptop a war chest. Jake, Karen's leading the meeting. Rebecca's scrambling. They're voting to seize your dock as community property to save their resort. I laughed, kicking a cornstalk. Seize my lake? With my deed and cameras rolling? Better, she said, grinning. Ray's niece hacked Vanguard's emails. Karen and Rebecca ordered your boat's theft. Fraud. My boat, impounded weeks ago, was still gone. A $750 fine dangling. Mrs. Carter called, voice firm. They're auctioning my patch tomorrow. I'm in. Ray's pickup rattled up. Mrs. Carter's rallying farmers. Mr. Lee's bringing his coop crew. Market's buzzing. I pictured her vegetable stand, squash high, now a battlefield. Let's bury them, I said, gripping the deed. Maple Creek's community center was a tinderbox. 50 neighbors packed in. Karen in her navy blazer at the podium. Rebecca slinking in back. Green blazer rumpled. Sullivan's dock threatens our lake's value, Karen chirped, waving a seizure notice. We vote to claim it. Resort funds depend on it. I strode in, Emma, Ray, and Mrs. Carter beside, holding the stolen boat notice and Vanguard's email. Value, Karen? I tossed the deed on her desk, ink ablade. You stole my boat, trespassed for years, and now you're auctioning Mrs. Carter's farm for condos? The crowd roared, Mr. Lee waving a pitchfork. Karen's face paled, nails clawing her clipboard. Slander! Rebecca stood, voice shaky. The lake's ours. Precedent. Emma raised her tablet. Live stream at 6,000 views. This email. Rebecca and Karen ordered Jake's boat impounded. No authority. Fraud. Mrs. Carter stepped up, eyes fierce. My patch feeds my grandkids. You fined me $2,000 to steal it. See? Mr. Lee yelled. My coop's $500 fine. Same scam. Neighbors surged, one shouting, We paid fees for lake access. Emma flashed the deed. Sullivan Lakes Private, 1953. No HOA claim. Ray tossed the boat notice. You stole from a farmer's grandson. Karen lunged for the tablet, but Mrs. Carter blocked her. Enough! Rebecca bolted for the door, but Mr. Lee's crew cut her off. Resign! Karen's gavel fell, her blazer sagging. Emma's stream hit 8,000. Farmers, vendors watching. Judge Davis, a retiree, stood. Vote. Dissolve the HOA. Fines canceled. Carter, Lee, all. Cheers erupted. Karen collapsing. Rebecca frozen. Sheriffs arrived. Emma's fraud tip. Wilkins, Mitchell, you're under investigation, a deputy said. Rebecca's face crumpled. Karen silent. My boat was back by dawn. Docked. Rustic as Grandpa's hay bales. Outside, Mrs. Carter hugged her grandkids, her patch safe. Ray grinned, leaning on the barn. Your grandpa'd be proud. He and Emma tallied. 10,000 views. Vanguard pulling funds. I set up the Sullivan Lake Trust. Public access, conservation first. No condos. A plaque for Grandpa read, Water's life, not profit. Maple Creek's split. Some grumble, hating the fee's truth. My boat's fresh painted, rugged, a nod to Grandpa's fights. Mrs. Carter's stall thrives. Mr. Lee's chickens cluck free. I fish at dawn, lake clear, hayfields golden. Rebecca's resort? Dust. Her scam's in court, Karen's gone quiet. Y'all, that's the tale. Rebecca's HOA crowns ash, my lake's free. Grandpa's deed, Emma's smarts, and a rusty boat flipped it. Mrs. Carter's farm's hers, Maple Creek learned. Don't steal a farmer's lake and smirk. It's messy, some sneer. The water's ours. Smash that like, drop a comment, face to Rebecca. Got a lake story? I'm all eyes. Share from Texas or Timbuktu. Let's see this spark fly. Subscribe. We're not done sinking tyrants yet.